Are you thinking about a cruise to Alaska next year? Join us as we do a review of Princess Cruise Lines in Alaska. And as always, folks, if you enjoy this content, please like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications to get notified each time we post. Joining me today for our review of Princess Cruises are Rich and Linda Skinner, owners of Cruise Holidays of Woodinville, located in Kirkland, Washington. Rich and Linda and their team of experienced travel advisors have been providing luxury cruise vacations and vacations for satisfied guests in and around Washington and across the country since 2001. Hi, folks. Welcome back to RTE Travel Talk.
Greetings,
Hi,
Ken.
good to see you, Ken.
It's great to have you back with us. So, listen, folks, there's a cruise line out there that we here at RTE Travel Talk have never had a chance to sail on, and
Oh,
that's Princess Cruise Lines.
Hmm.
Now, I happen to understand that you have just returned from Princess. Why don't you tell our viewers and listeners where you went and what ship you were on?
Linda?
well, we went to Alaska, which is a great place to cruise. And we were on Princess and the Majestic Princess. And
Well,
she was pretty majestic.
that's excellent. Well, there you go. Alaska happens to be another place that we have never been to.
Oh,
Oh,
wow. You've got to go, Ken.
gotta
You've
go.
got to
Yeah.
go.
Well,
That's a
that sounds
must
like a
do.
plan. Why
Yeah.
don't you
Yeah.
give us a quick recap of your cruise, how you found Princess? What was the Majestic Princess like?
Well, let me tell you a little bit about the ship itself just to get started. It was a it's part of the Royal class of Princess ships, which is their newest class.
Okay.
It was built in 2017 in Italy, like all of their ships are, and it was purpose built for the Chinese market. It was going to be stationed in Shanghai.
Okay.
So when you go on the ship, you'll see certain things like there's a Chinese restaurant instead of an Italian restaurant. There's furniture that looks, but the most funny thing was a lot of the signage had both Chinese characters and English, and the passengers would say, "Why is all that in Chinese?" So they didn't. Princess didn't really explain much about what happened because
Right.
it's in 2017. Obviously, the timing was a little off, and
Yeah.
by the end of 2018, it was pretty much there was not going to be any more China market or Orient market for a while. So
Sure.
they took the ship out of service, and and essentially decided to move it to doing Alaska service in the summertime, and then do Mexican Riviera in the rest of the year with the ship. So
Okay.
they redid the destination for the ship and just put it in there. I don't think they made many changes on board. It didn't look to me like there was. In fact, it was funny in the casino. Some of the slot machines were in Chinese characters. You couldn't tell what they were, but it was kind of just part of the deal. Went along with it. But it's
But
a
it made
it's
it
a
made it
medium.
kind of fun,
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
have that. It was like really like a
yeah.
little bit of an international touch to it.
Yeah. A little
It's
bit
a
of
medium
international
large.
flavor.
It's a medium large ship. It's about 143,000 tons. It's got about 3,560 passengers and 1,300 crew. Interesting, 81% of the staterooms are balconies. So obviously, it was built for people who wanted to have balcony accommodations. It's also a ship that is not as big as the biggest guys, but it's still pretty good sized. It has
Yeah.
19 decks, so I mean it's pretty large and has a lot of things going on for it because of that. So, and I guess I'd say about 3,000 people were on board when we were doing our trip.
The ship was pretty full.
Yeah. But did it feel crowded?
It never did feel crowded. No.
Yeah.
No, there was always
Princess.
space in the showroom, and there was always the restaurants were
Yeah.
always available, and those kinds of things. So no, I didn't really feel like it was jam
No,
packed.
it didn't. As a matter of fact, the only time that you realized there were a lot of people is at one of our stops. We had incredible weather, and that was
Right.
in Juneau. It was like in the 80s, and
Oh, wow.
people were swimming in the pool. The calypso music was going, and I said to Rich, I said, "Are we in Alaska or the Caribbean?"
Yeah.
And there were a lot of people out at the pool.
Right.
It was just it felt like a great party. It was.
Oh, sounds like a great time. What was included as part of this cruise?
Well, in our case, we opted to take the premium drinks package, which Princess offers, and it allows you essentially two of the dining room experiences, the extra cost dining rooms. It also gave us a premium level beverage package. It gave us internet. It gave us also the gratuities for the staff. So it was a very nice package, and I highly recommend that people consider doing that as far as doing it. Because if you're like me and you're kind of particular about what kind of wine you like to have, they have the better quality wine on that premium package versus the basic package, which is just generic.
And they had good wines.
Right.
It was, we were actually surprised about that they had very nice wines available on that premium package.
Oh, grand.
And they had a nice wine bar where, where you could go have not just at the dining room, but a nice glass of wine in the evening or afternoon or something like that.
Excellent. And obviously going with a package gives you more control of what your overall cost is going to be, because you kind of know up front.
Yeah.
Exactly.
As opposed to sticker shock at the end of the cruise.
Exactly.
And one of the things that what set Princess apart is the Medallion Program. It looks like this. It's a little magnetic disc.
Okay.
And they give it to you in a lanyard. We opted to buy bracelets that went along with it. They were about $12. But that technology is new technology, and it is pretty terrific. I mean, it opens the door when you approach it. You can order things on it. It enters you into contests. You can set up dining times. You can do all kinds of things with it. And there you can even charge things ashore if you want to, using the chip.
You play in the casino with it. That's what
Right.
It pretty much is your pass to all of the wonderful things of Princess cruising.
Yeah, so no more sporting around with a key card for the room, or
No.
everything's done through that medallion.
The only downside is people of a certain age, I'm raising my hands, they have a little bit of a challenge with it, as they had a special tutorial session early on in the cruise, and they set up for about 50, and about 150 people showed up, all of that particular age, and it became chaos. And so finally the presenter just said, no, wait a minute, I'll talk to each individually, so you can know how to use it. So anybody who uses a QR code, and when they go to Starbucks, they'll have no problems whatsoever. But those of us who pay cash, we get big problems. So
I found it stupendous, because I'm a techie, and I loved it.
So tell me about your room. Did you have a veranda? Obviously.
We did. We had the opportunity to upgrade from a veranda stateroom to a mini suite.
Okay.
And we took that opportunity. I told Rich that was the best decision he ever made, because we walked into our room and I was like, wow, this is a nice room. And actually the ship was extremely beautiful. It was very, very clean, and everything looked new. It didn't look worn at all, and I've been on some ships where I go, oh, this is looking a little sad in the teeth. Not so with the Majestic Princess. It was in really good shape. And the room was just really beautiful, with a nice balcony. We were on the 12th floor. And I just have to say to everyone, if you are going to Alaska, you have to have a balcony.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just do not, because we would have times that we would be sailing into someplace, and I'd get up in the morning, I'd look out and I go, whoa. And as a matter of fact, I have a picture of a sunrise going into Juneau, and it was just absolutely spectacular. And I spent so many times running out on the balcony in my pajamas going, Rich, you got to come out here. Look at this. and if we hadn't had that balcony, we wouldn't have missed that particular experience.
It's those special moments.
Those special moments. And it is worth, if you're even close to having the budget for it, save up so you can do that. Have those balconies for Alaska. it really, you're doing a lot of cruising where you're looking at things going by on the land.
Right.
And my second tip is bring binoculars.
Okay.
You really need binoculars. And if you are like us, you both need your own set. You just have, you see bear, you see all of the different animals, you see the sea otters, it's all right there. You're just floating through it. You want to see them close up. So bring those binoculars.
When you're cruising through those areas, how far from shore would you be?
Probably a quarter of a mile. I mean, when we were at Hubbard Glacier, which was absolutely spectacular, we got very lucky. It was a beautiful day, and it was calving, and it was just spectacular to see. It's 60 miles across, and we got it probably within a quarter mile or so of the face of the ship. You could take a shore excursion in a small boat that brought you up much closer if you wanted to do that. But we saw a lot of glacier, and I think maybe even in Glacier Bay, we probably were within a quarter mile of the face of the glacier.
Yeah,
so.
we went around in Glacier Bay National Park is really a full day cruising experience. You're cruising through. It's not just like you're going up to a glacier. There are several glaciers there. There's islands that you're cruising around. It's a beautiful national park. And we were very fortunate because it was pristine weather. The water was glass. It was just so smooth. They have a ranger on board that's giving you blow-by-blow commentary. Right. Of what's going on. And again, there we were with our balcony. It would get pretty crowded in the areas where people were standing up to the deck. So on our balcony, we had our own private viewing area.
Right, exactly. So in terms of itinerary, what exactly were the ports along the way?
Well, we started in Whittier.
Okay.
And we flew to Anchorage and started in Whittier.
Oh, okay.
And then we, from there, we had a sea day, which I love sea days. And I love having the first day be a sea day because you really get to know the ship. And then the next 2 days, we went Hubbard Glacier, the third day. Then we went Glacier Bay the next day. And so those were 3 at-sea days kind of in a row, which when you're doing those glaciers, you just feel like you're on a shore excursion on the boat. Princess had a great commentator on board who was taking us through, did sessions about Alaska and what was going on that you could go attend lecture sessions. And then he did narratives. Every place we went, told us the history.
So if you were on your balcony, how did you hear the narrator?
You have your door open, and it's broadcasting on the TV right inside your door.
Oh, okay.
From the bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent.
After that, our first actual stop was Icy Strait. And quite honestly, that was one of my favorite stops. I love Icy Strait. It feels like Alaska before Alaska had so many people coming. It's just
what they've done is the local indigenous peoples have taken an old salmon cannery and have repurposed it to be a tourist area with shops and restaurants, and they've also built the world's longest zip line that goes up the top of a bluff that's probably 2,000, 3,000 feet in the air for those strong of heart and wish to do that. But they also have a gondola. Yeah, they have a gondola there's a free gondola that goes from one end to the other end, and there's a gondola that goes up the hill. So there's really quite a bit of things to do. But for us, the most important thing about that stop was we get to walk into the town of Hoonah. Linda, tell them about Hoonah.
Well, Hoonah is just this very beautiful little village. When you get there, it's not a metropolis. It's pretty rural, it's pretty rugged, but it's just what Alaska is like. We put about 18,000 steps on our pedometer that day. And we walked along the beautiful bay, watching the seals. And we didn't see the whales this time there, but lots of eagles, lots of seals, lots of stuff going on as we're walking in. And they've made a very nice walking path to go all the way to Huna from there, and benches along the way if you need to sit down. It's just a community being a community. We met one of the indigenous people who had a shop, and just spoke to him. And I got my special T-shirt. I have to stand up so you can see my T-shirt if I can get in here. I'm always
There you go.
There we go.
Ah.
I got my special T-shirt and my special hat and everything there. Just a great place.
Wonderful, wonderful.
After Icy Straits, we went to Juneau, which is the capital of Alaska, and we did something unusual we've never done before. We did a self-guided tour that was on tape, so we could listen to it and walk around and see the city and learn the history of the city, because we've been to Juneau several times before. Right. So one of the highlights of Juneau is Mendenhall Glacier, which is a little bit of a trip out of town, but almost everybody does that because there's a natural interpretive center there that is really good. And
right.
It's one of the highlights. There's also a big gondola that goes up to the top of Mount Juneau right from the dock. It's a little pricey, but it's still, if it's a nice day, it's a really great trip to do that thing. So in Juneau, we had a chance to kind of tour around and look and see what was going on, and got to sample the local coffee store, which was very good. And
really
Linda got to go to one of the indigenous people's stores, and had some really interesting things there. So it was a fun day for us to kind of cool it and look at and see it and enjoy all of Juneau.
So what was after Juneau?
The next day was Ketchikan. And in Ketchikan, we did also something we hadn't done before. We signed up for a photo tour where the guide was teaching us how to use our cell phone cameras to do photography in nature, as well as showing us all the salmon spawning and the history of Ketchikan, which has Creek Street, which was the red light district for Ketchikan back in its wild and crazy days. And you could see all of the salmon spawning up the stream and the seals coming and eating the salmon and amazing things. But Linda especially learned a lot about photography there. She was able to take some great totem pole pictures and some of the other kinds of natural things that were there. And I think we learned a lot about it. And that was really, really kind of good that we were able to get. It was kind of like an instructional deal as well as a touring deal. So it was really kind of fun.
Sort of like a twofer. You get instruction on your technology and great scenery and a tour all at the same time.
We even got to go to the Ketchikan Library. I'd never been to the Ketchikan Library.
Wow, that's fantastic. So highly recommended then.
Yes, it was a great tour. It was a great tour.
Ketchikan is a small place, and when you have 4 or 5 ships in there, it can be a little overwhelmed. Right. Because when you have 10,000 people or 12,000, whatever it was in there, it doubles the population for 2 hours. So you can see that some of the things can be a little crowded. So so everybody's aware of that. When you get in, there's a lot of ships there. It's you need to work around the crowded conditions.
Right.
It was nice because we had the tour all arranged ahead of time, so he came and picked us up, and we kind of missed the crowds that way. He kind of kept us in areas that weren't quite as crowded, or he must have known when the big tours were coming in, because we most of our places, we didn't run into a big crowd.
So this tour, was it through Princess, or was it one that you did on your own?
This is one that I did on my own. I bought it through Viator.
Okay, so that can be worthwhile then.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, great.
You just have to be careful when you're doing that you have a reputable tour company that will get you to your ship on time. And
right. That's where it helps to have a travel advisor in your corner.
Exactly.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
After Ketchikan, we went to
Day at Sea, and then we landed in Vancouver.
Right on.
Yeah. So we got off the ship, but actually our disembarkation went really smoothly.
Very smooth.
Definitely Princess knows what they're doing when they're getting you on and off the boat. It was a smooth disembarkation. We just got off, got our luggage. we had a transfer on bus from Vancouver back to SeaTac, where we had left from. We just got on our bus and drove
Easy
back.
peasy.
And yeah, easy peasy. We had a little bit of a delay at the border with checking the bus through customs. But, that's just part of what goes on.
If you look at cruising, I've always put Princess in with the premium cruise lines, and included in there's Holland America and Celebrity. So I think those are kind of like the big three, and especially in Alaska, because Princess has such a great infrastructure inland in Alaska and Denali and other places with trains and buses and lodges and things. That's a big plus. And if somebody's coming from Florida or Australia or whatever it is, they want to see the interior of Alaska as well. So Princess is always a very good choice if you're going to do that interior tour as well as the cruise. Yeah.
A good portion of our ship that got on in Whittier, we flew from Seattle up and got on the ship. But a good percentage of the people who were on that ship were actually coming from land tour.
Can you talk about using a travel advisor? A travel advisor is going to tell you, if you're going to do an inland tour of Alaska, do it first. Go fly up there, do the land portion before you get the pampering of the cruise portion. If you do it the other way around, you're used to the cruise, and then you have to get off and kind of rough it a little more on the land portion. So it really is our advice, if you can, arrange to have a southbound cruise as opposed to a northbound cruise on that. So there's one tip.
So
we always offer people.
If you're doing a cruise tour, do the land first.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Makes a lot of sense.
And then you're really having a relaxing. So you arrive home a little more relaxed and not so tired, because there's so much to see on the land. You don't want to miss anything. So you don't want to take naps. Because of that, I think the mix of people on our ship were a little different than it might be if it was just a cruise from Seattle up and back, And so we had a lot of what I would call really active people, because they had been doing a lot of hiking and walking and those kinds of things, and a lot of teenagers, family with teenagers.
In terms of families, good for families, but perhaps a little bit more for the older kids.
You're probably going to have mostly, teen people that you would like you would take to Disneyland, they can go on the tours with you, and they, that age group.
Princess does an interesting thing for their children's program. They have worked out a deal with the Discovery Channel, and they do a discovery program where they do a lot of, soft science and fun kinds of things for the age group from about age 5 through 17. And it really is, it's a good program for people who do have kids and want to have something to have the kids do while mom and dad are off doing something else.
Great.
Yeah, we walked by one of the children's things, and there was lots of activity going on. You could tell they were having a blast. It was, so they had a good program for it. It's a good family experience.
Yeah.
The whole thing in Alaska is.
Oh, perfect. Your weather was great, from what I understand.
Yes.
Yeah.
Any special packing tips if you're preparing for an Alaska cruise?
Linda.
Yes. Well, my packing tip is you could have 40-degree weather, or you'll have to change that to the Celsius, Fahrenheit, 40-degree to 80-degree. When we arrived in Whittier and when we got on the ship, it was 50 and rain, and we're thinking, this is going to be a rainy cruise.
Right.
And we woke up the next morning to the foghorn sounding on the ship. And I looked out, and there was a dense pea soup fog that we were in. And being from Northern California and being around the San Francisco Bay Area, I said to Rich, I think it's going to be a sunny day because of that fog. Because everything was just quiet. And pretty soon the fog burns off and we start to see sun and blue sky. And it was absolutely beautiful. And then we had great weather, but we'd have fog at night.
You would be susceptible to a lot of fog with the rapid changes in temperature
Yes.
from day to night.
Yes, exactly.
That's
Yeah.
what causes it.
It's so crazy. You just have to pack for anything
Right.
because you do not know. You know, I don't care if you go in May or September or any time in between. In Alaska, the weather, she is fickle. And you just, you know, they were predicting rain the whole time we were there.
Right.
And we got it the first day and that was it.
The key to packing is layers. And so you
Yeah.
really need to have layers up and down because you don't know what you're going to need. Rain gear, good walking shoes. Absolutely.
So if you had
Yeah,
to
as
do
a
it,
matter of fact, I'll tell a story on myself. I did not bring a heavy enough coat. I was planning to bring my Irish raincoat and I forgot it. And so after that first day and we sailed away, the shops put their nice coats on sale. And so I bought myself one of the nice raincoats because I thought, oh, this is just going to be bad. I need to have
Yeah.
a raincoat. I wore it one time.
well, there you go. What you did is you bought weather insurance. The minute you bought
Yes.
that coat, no rain.
That's it. You got it.
Well, it looks like you had an absolutely wonderful time.
Yeah.
Alaska is certainly a fascinating place with all the wildlife and the scenery.
Oh,
Where-
it's beautiful.
Yeah. Where are you guys off to next?
Well, we hope. We haven't got it finalized yet, but it looks like we're going to do Christmas on the Danube.
Oh, fantastic. Looking forward to hearing all about that
Yeah.
if we get that finalized. Well, folks, that's really great information. If folks want to find out more information about Alaska or another cruise vacation with you folks, how would they do that?
Give us a call at 425-487-4001. You'll see that information there, or you can send to info@luxuriant.com or just look us up on the website.
Perfect. Sounds like a plan. Once again, Linda and Rich, this has been very informative. Hey, what's this I hear about the Love Boat coming back to TV?
Well, I'm going
Hey!
to tell you a funny story.
Okay.
We're departing from Juneau, and you know the ship always plays its horn after when it's departing from port. They played the theme from the Love Boat on the ship's horn.
Oh, wow.
The old one, the one that we all
And this
grew
is
up
where
with.
we were having the party out at the pool.
But yes, this fall there's going to be a new one. It sounds a little bit like The Bachelor and the dating game, kind of some of that kind of stuff. So I don't think you're going to see Captain Stubing and
Not quite the same.
Gopher and Julie and that kind of stuff. But it's still, hey, many people say that the original Love Boat series kicked off the current boom in the cruise vacation, and I can't argue with that because it got a lot of people's interest going.
And on that note, one of our subscribers has reached out to us, and we're going to have him on a future episode because this particular gentleman actually was crew on the original Love Boat.
Oh,
So maybe you and Rich would like to join us for that episode.
Sure,
that'd
absolutely.
be fun. Yeah, love to.
Yeah.
We can have a little fun reminiscing about the old times on the Love Boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's excellent, folks. And with that, I'm just going to wish the both of you smooth sailing. May the wind always be at your back. And I hope to see you on the Love Boat Lido deck sometime soon.
Sounds good.
Absolutely.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And that about wraps it up for today, folks. A very special thanks to my guests, Rich and Linda Skinner of Cruise Holidays of Woodinville. If you'd like to reach Rich or Linda, I'll leave their contact information in the description. If you'd like to reach us, simply send a question to questions@realtravelexperts.com. Visit our website, realtravelexperts.com, or simply leave a comment. We always respond. Next week, we are winging our way off to Egypt and Jordan to discover the secrets of the Nile. Next week's show will be a behind-the-scenes look at RTE Travel Talk. And the week after that, we hope to have some content for you from the ancient world of Egypt and Jordan. So you can look forward to that. So until next time, folks, here's a wish for you for safe and happy travels. We look forward to coming to you from Egypt and Jordan. And as always, a like, subscribe, and a ring of the bell is certainly appreciated. It and helps us to spread the word.